Hello everyone, this is Sherry and this is Blue and you're watching Lessons Learned. So hi there, welcome to the Monday morning quilt chat. The sunshine is coming in, so I'm not sure what the result of this video will be like, but you can just listen if it's hard to listen, hard to look at. I thought I might set up the machine here to do some string beans while we're talking. The string bean project has been kicking my butt a little bit. And what I mean by that is, you just wouldn't believe how many of those I have messed up. The other day, I had to walk completely away from one of those blocks and just start completely over, not even use any of what I was working on that particular block that day. I think I had gotten a little bit hangry and it just wasn't a good time to be sewing. And so I had the block all together, and I always get to the end and I've got two strips on one side of that middle piece and one on the other. And then I'm left with this other block that's supposed to go, or strip supposed to go on the side that has the two instead of the side that has the one. So I ripped out and I ripped out. I had to rip all the way down to the 4.5 by 7.5 in the middle, and then the 4 strips that are around that, I had to go all the way down to that. And then it was like, I was looking at it and I was thinking, this just doesn't go together. So I just put that smaller piece that I had done in my orphan scrap box, orphan block box. You know how you get orphan blocks? I just couldn't look at it, so I had to just start completely over with a whole new scheme to get that block done that day. So lesson learned, don't sew while you're hangry. And then I also, that very same day, I ended up breaking a needle on my machine. I don't know what was going on with that. I can't even tell you the last time I broke a needle on my machine. That's kind of a pretty rookie mistake, isn't it? So anyway, like I said, lesson learned. Don't do that anymore. Oh, I forgot my middle blocks. Hold on just a second. So I got 16 of these done. Last time I talked to you about it, I had 16 done. I haven't done any since. So I really need to, I think I need to do 5 today. That's the farthest behind I've been, I believe. So anyway, I'll work on some. Maybe this is, like I say, it might not be a good idea for me to be doing this while I'm talking, but I'm going to try it. I got my little cutting mat under my machine here too. I'll have to cut some of them down as I go. So how was your weekend? How was the National Quilting Day for you on Saturday? I hope you all have had a chance to see my video that I did on that. Made a little table runner, and it's got a few little unexpected things in it that happened along the way, but if you watched it already, you probably don't want to hear too much about it. But I did end up getting the project done, and it took me from about 10:30 to 4:30, but I was going slow, and I was you know, I took breaks. I wasn't stressing out about it or anything. I'm trying to get my foot out from under the table here. I slid my table around so I could set the video up, and then I got my other stuff all messed up. So anyway, I hope you got to sew on Saturday. If not, maybe watch my video and see how I did. I was beat after that, though. I tell you what, I don't usually do a whole entire project on the same day. I mean, I have to kind of pace myself and, you know, go away and come back and You know, it might take me, normally for a little project like that, I might take 2, 3, 4 days to get something like that done if it's needing to be done, you know, in a reasonable amount of time. So I was pretty tired after that. But I have some exciting news as well. I alluded to it in the comments on one of my videos. If you read the comments, I got a new sewing machine this weekend too. That's another reason why I didn't start till 10:30 on Saturday, is because we went in to get my sewing machine, and it's a little ways away, about 35 minutes away. So I had to go take care of that before I could start sewing. But I got a Baby Lock Jazz 2, which this Janome that I have has a 6-inch throat plate here, the distance between the needle and the machine, like for pushing through your quilts. It's kind of limited. And my husband, Mark, he said that when he was watching me quilt when I was in Florida, you know, when I did the stack and whack, the pink quilt, he said, you need a bigger sewing machine or something. I said, well, I can make do with this. I don't necessarily need to have a new sewing machine. But he mentioned it a couple more times, so I thought, well, you know, I might just go ahead and look and see what I might want that would solve that problem. And I went looking on the internet one night or one day and just kind of shopped around, compared, you know, features. Definitely looking for something that had that deeper throat area there. And I happened upon this Baby Lock Jazz 2. J-A-Z-Z, and then the Roman numeral 2. It's the model of it. And it was a real simple machine. It's a mechanical machine. It's not computerized at all. But it had a 12-inch throat to it. So I was like, kind of like that one. I looked at some others. And then I just kind of landed on that, back on that Baby Lock again. And I thought, I wonder if my local, you know, sewing machine shop sells that brand. So I went on to their site, and lo and behold, they had it on sale for half price. I'm sure they're getting ready to make a Jazz 3 or something. So I called the next day and talked to the girl. And I said, is this price right on here for this machine? And she said, well, if that's what it says on the online store, that's what it is. I said, well, do you have any? She says, well, I know we sold our floor model. I don't know if we have any more in our warehouse or not. She says, I'll find out and let you know the next day. Well, she didn't call me back. And I was thinking, well, I bet she doesn't have that sewing machine anymore. I'll have to just start looking all over again. And I called her back later that day. I couldn't wait to find out. So I called her, and she says, let me check. Let me call right now, and I'll call you right back, and I'll let you know if we've got one in the warehouse. And they did. She says, I'll have it for you next Friday. Well, this was the Thursday before. It's the day I was talking to her. And so I waited patiently till Friday. And no phone call, nothing. And I was like, wonder what's going on. So I got on the phone, and a man answered. It wasn't the girl I was talking to before. I said, would it perhaps be that you have a Baby Lock Jazz 2 there waiting for me to be picked up? Gave him my name and everything. He says, yeah, it's sitting here. I'm sure it's yours. So it was. So that's why I went and picked it up on Saturday. It was towards the end of the day on Friday, and I didn't want to get into big city traffic. So I said, I'll just come Saturday and get it. So I've got a new sewing machine. I set it up in the house first, and I'm going to try it out here after this, and make sure everything's working okay and everything before I carry it all the way up here to the she shed. So anyway, that's exciting. And I've got that quilt over there, that what is it? That batik quilt that I made that was hanging on the wall for so long. It's big. It's not huge. It's not a huge quilt, but it's not a lap quilt. It's quite a bit to push through. So I'm going to take that and try to do maybe some free motion or something. I don't know. I probably should just start with straight line on a new machine just to get used to it. But probably next week I'll be working on that. Well, this week. Next week, I don't know what I'm talking about. Today's Monday. So during this week sometime. Also, I'm going to have another video out on the batik boho, probably tomorrow or Wednesday, on the petals. We're going to start cutting out some petals and putting them together and playing with that some. If you're sewing along with us on that, I hope you got your base done already. I've got my base done. You probably saw that on the Finish It Friday video. The 81 squares in the blacks and whites and grays. I'm hoping mine doesn't have too much dark in it. Like the dark grays that kind of can come off black, at least in comparison to the lighter ones. I hope I didn't make a mistake on that, but either way, it's probably going to be pretty. I'll just make sure I put the brightest of batiks I can find out of my stash as petals on there. Eight and a half. I need an 8.5. I had to cut some more strips. I found some more of this orange. I'm trying to have some orange, green, and yellow in every block. And then I also ran out of, I had a smaller print in this kind of aqua-y background. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of an aqua behind that. It was a little more subdued. It was like just little circles on it. I ran out of that, so I'm using this. I hope it doesn't contrast too much. And then I'll make sure I don't mess this up, because I ain't got time for that. So it's the 8.5. So I had to find some more colors, and like I say, I found some more of this orange, which I've been using from the start. So that's good. I actually had some rolled up on a comic book card up there. I couldn't believe it. This orange is from a project I did when I first got this machine. So it had to be like 15 years ago, because I went to a quilt and flip, quilt as you go class, which I couldn't tell you now how to do that. I probably got a pattern around here somewhere. But I used that orange, and I used it for the backing, and I had a big bunch left over from the backing, because it was just a lap quilt size. Got it at Hancock Fabrics. I used to work at Hancock Fabrics. Did you all ever have a Hancock Fabrics where you lived? I started working there in the 80s, back when I was first married. I hope I haven't told you this story before, but I was a notions clerk, and then I was a assistant manager for a good while, and then I moved. That was in Owensboro, Kentucky, and then I moved back to here in southern Indiana, where I pretty much grew up, and I just transferred to the Clarksville, Indiana store, and I worked there. And after a couple years, I decided, I didn't want to do retail anymore. So I went into banking, which turns out it's pretty retail, 13.5. But I stuck with the banking for 14 years. And I did everything there. It was a small town bank, and I started out as a teller, and I worked in computer operations and branch management and just a variety of things, accounting, a lot of different stuff while I was there. I always said about every 3 years I reinvented myself. 10.5, 13.5. Okay, let me make sure I didn't goof this up. There's that. I need a 8.5, a 13.5. That's what I did. Yeah, that's right. And so when I was 37 years old, I decided, you know what? I want to go into a career that I've always wanted to do but just never did. And that was cosmetology. So at the time, I didn't really want to go through like, a year or more's worth of hair cutting and all of that. So I did a nail tech program that only took about 3 months, I think. And I started working in that, and I enjoyed that. I did that for off and on for 18 years, mostly on. There's a few pauses in that time where I thought, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'd quit, and then I'd go back. Probably did that 3 times. And then when the pandemic happened, I did work through that a little bit. And then after a few months, after we had went back, after the shutdown, I was like, you know what? I don't have to do this. And I just decided, you know what? It's just safer for me and my family for me not to go out and do that. So I started thinking about getting out of doing nails, which was something I enjoyed. It was a creative outlet for sure. But yeah, I'm not missing it that much. And so that was in November of 2020. I think I stopped working at the end of that month in anticipation of a terrible flu season. We just didn't know how things were going to work with all that, but that's when I left the salon I was working at. And I didn't do anything for a while. I just stayed at home and did gardening and some sewing. I was having a little trouble getting back into sewing. I don't know why. But I've got this wonderful studio here that's well equipped for it, so I should be using it. So I sat around and watched a lot of YouTube. YouTubes of all kinds. The homesteaders, the quilters, crafting, whatever, cooking, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, you know, I think I could do that. And I thought at first, you know, I'd like to do cleaning, organizing, simplifying. You know, people were doing these videos on the Fly Lady. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's a method of keeping your house clean. And I started doing that myself just from watching YouTubes. And I thought I could do that. Well, my husband got a new computer and everything for me to start doing that. But our internet was terrible. And from what I understood, you know, you got to have pretty good internet to be able to upload videos. So during all the internet woes we were having, and my husband was working from home and having all kinds of trouble, we were spending upwards of $400 a month on all different types of internet to always have something that worked for his job. And I was like, this just ain't gonna work for YouTube. There's no way. So, you know, I didn't even learn the software the special software he bought for YouTubing. And so it just kind of sat there and didn't do anything. I didn't do anything with it, didn't try to learn anything, because I knew it was just going to be a waste of my time if I can't get the videos uploaded. So anyway, I don't know where along the line he got involved, and I said, you know, really everybody should have a YouTube channel. We got our internet worked out to where it was doing better. It is doing better. We do okay with the internet now. Just had to get it figured out. We just live in one of those places where we live close to, you know, we live close to town, but we're kind of in a farm area, and there's like this hole right here that we're in where there's no good reception. Well, it's getting better. But anyway, got that worked out, and he started doing some videos. And if you look at the beginning of our videos, it's about our travel trailer. And I tried to do some nail videos and things like that, but nothing really, you know, caught on. And he was doing all those. He says, when are you going to start doing some kind of video? Every so often he would ask me, what kind of videos you going to do? Are you going to do some, oh, well, I don't know. I'm going too soon. I have some ideas. So that's when I started doing the quilting and the sewing videos. Not too long before we went to Florida. I mean, the channel is, this aspect of the channel with the quilting and the sewing is very new. I've only been doing it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months at the most. And you know, it kind of started taking off a little bit, so, and I'm enjoying it, because I'm getting, you know, I'm getting out here, I'm getting things done, and getting the creative juices flowing, and sharing what I know with other people. I'm by no means an expert in anything, but I like to share knowledge. And that's where the name of our channel came from as well. You know, we sat down together and said, you know what, our channel needs to be named something that's appropriate to us and what we're doing, you know. And both of us are the type of people that we like to share our knowledge that we have with other people, what little we know about things. But, you know, and we've learned a lot of lessons in the past about what not to do. Who hasn't, right? So, you know, if we can keep somebody else from making a mistake because we made a mistake, that's a plus for everybody involved. But yeah, so we came up with the idea of lessons learnt. Now, why learnt? You know, that sounds so hickish, but I have a Appalachian background. I have family from there, and I was born there, and I still have a little bit of an accent. It's all watered down now, but I didn't grow up in Appalachia, but I was born there, and I was around people who, my parents, and especially my dad, it's just the language that I learned, the accent that I had. And of course, when I was little, we moved to southern Indiana, and up here, you hear a lot of people kind of talk country up here, but not as much. And especially in school, you learn how to speak proper. So, not that, the Appalachian dialect is not proper, but there are some grammatical rules broken in that dialect. So anyway, that's why it's learnt instead of learned. But if you look it up in the dictionary, learnt is still an acceptable form of spelling for the word. So yeah, that's where that came from, if you've wondered. Why lessons learnt. That's where it came from. I always like to know a little bit of history on people that I'm watching. Hope you did too. There's one more. 4 more to do. This is 17. The other day when I made my Finish It Friday, I said I needed to make the 17th block that day, and it wasn't. It was supposed to be the 18th. So actually that day I was already a block behind. But I'm keeping up okay. It's fine. And before you know it, we'll have this string beans done. I mean, I'll be trying to figure out how am I going to get that quilted. But we'll do it. We're going to do it. So I guess I'll stop there with you guys. I'm going to continue on with my blocks. And by the end of the week, I hope that I'll have something completely finished to show you again on Finish It Friday. In the meantime, look out for episode 2 of the Batik Boho Throw. And I might have a little video on my sewing machine. I can't promise that, but I do want to make one on it, so you can take a look at it and see if it's something that you might like to have. And I hope I like it. I haven't even started. I got it all unboxed and everything, but I haven't actually, plugged it into the wall yet. So I'll try that out here this afternoon probably. So have a great week, and I'll see you soon. And in the meantime, go ahead and find you something to sew. See you later. Bye.